We may be at the halfway stage for this week's 3 families in the House of Tiny Tearaways, but their problems are far from being solved.
There's nothing you could have done.
Shut up, Mummy.
Right, boys?
Welcome to the House of Tiny Tearaways. 3 families are living here to work together to solve their parenting problems with the help and guidance of clinical psychologist Dr Tanya Byron. She's been given just 6 days to solve the family's eating, sleeping and behaviour problems in what she hopes will be an environment of mutual support. The design and construction of the house has been completed in conjunction with a committee of childcare experts to make sure that it's a safe, fun place for kids to stay, whilst also recreating a realistic and practical home environment.
The great thing about this project is I get to bring families together and they can help each other, but I've only got 6 days to turn their problems around, and that is more worrying.
There's the Hadley family, who are desperately trying to solve 3.5-year-old Lucie's tantrums and sleeping problems. Single mum Michelle Wright's got her hands full with 2-year-old Ross and 3.5-year-old Matthew. She's come here to address the boys' constant night waking, which means she's been getting less than 4 hours sleep a night. Then there's Paula and Steve Murphy, who are looking to sort out both of their sons' eating difficulties. 2.5-year-old Isaac refuses to eat a meal unless it's pureed, and Jacob, who's 5, only wants to be spoon-fed. In 3 days, it's clear that the families have come a long way, but with only just 3 days left, can Tanya find a solution? Lone parent Michelle Wright has brought sons Matthew and Ross in a desperate bid not only to solve their sleeping problems, but also their uncontrollable behaviour. Yesterday, Tanya gave Michelle assertiveness training to help her gain more control over the boys.
I said no. Brilliant. That felt good there.
Last night, Michelle was woken 9 times in the night by the boys. It's now breakfast time, and Matthew continues to put his mum's newfound confidence to the test.
Shut up.
I'm not speaking to you now.
Shut up. No, Mummy. Shut up, Mummy. He says shut up too. Shut up, Mummy. Shut up. Yeah.
Because I'm getting anything to eat for saying that. No.
Margot's me.
Come here. Are you sorry for saying those bad words?
No, Mummy.
Do not say
I'm
those
not
words.
going to say
Do not say
sorry,
shut up.
Mummy, my
Go and
brain.
sit down, I'll bring it back out. You say those words again, I'm taking it off you.
Shut up.
What do you do?
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up, Mummy. She says shut up, Mummy. Mummy. She says shut up. He says shut up.
I'm not speaking to you, go away. Don't
Please.
speak to boys that speak that way. Don't speak to you.
But he says shut up.
The Murphy family are here to solve their son's eating problems, and they've already made good progress. 5-year-old Jacob, who would never feed himself, has followed the lead of the other children in the house and has started to eat on his own. 2.5-year-old Isaac has moved from a high chair to a booster seat, but he still won't eat a whole meal unless it's pureed and spoon-fed to him.
Good boy.
Ross, come in and sit beside me.
There is sugar in there. I've mixed it. It's gone to the bottom. It's near the bottom.
Mummy, darling, you're a good boy.
Matthew? Up to the
Good boy.
Do not Ross.
Good boy.
Do that again.
up to the top.
What, milk?
Don't do it again.
Daddy, sugar.
Do you want some on the top of it?
Yeah, there's sugar. There's sugar.
Please.
Please. Look. Look, it's tunnel. Good boy. Play the tunnel. Good boy.
Well done. Are you good?
Isaac has surprised everyone at the table by spoon-feeding himself for the very first time.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Hey, look at that. That's all right. It doesn't matter. You're a good boy, Egg. Well done. Look at that.
Good boy.
Oh.
You're going to give Isaac a big clap?
Yeah. Hooray! Here's your breakfast.
A clever boy.
Big boy.
Yeah, big boy.
Whoa.
That's good. Good.
That's a big one, isn't it? Oh, it's lying.
While 2.5-year-old Ross and older brother Matthew are looked after by the Hadleys, Tanya calls Michelle into her office to talk about the boys' behaviour.
They can at times be really quite aggressive, and they can at times be very aggressive both towards each other and towards you, and occasionally towards the other children in the house.
Yeah.
And I think that's because you're not setting a clear enough boundary around their behaviour. And I'm going to show you some clips because I've got evidence of the fact that the way you behave towards your boys when they do something really aggressive, for me, is not the right way to go about things.
Okay.
So I think we need to look at it, understand it, and then think about how we can change it. In terms of the two boys, who would you say really has the behaviour problems?
Definitely Ross.
Definitely Ross.
Yes.
So Ross is the one with the behaviour problems. Does Matthew have any?
Yeah, Matthew's not an angel, he's just better than Ross.
Well, should we have a look?
Yes.
Should we have a look? Right, the first one is it's to do with Isaac. So let's have a look at that one first.
A good boy.
Mommy.
Big tubby hug.
Mommy.
Come here.
Mommy.
Do not do that. Isaac, stand up, darling.
Mommy.
See you.
I didn't see that you were cross with him there.
Right.
I don't think he recognised you were cross with him. The ability for us to behave in social situations, the ability for us to manage our behaviour and those sorts of things, to empathise with other people, to think about others, decisions about right and wrong, that's very much around the frontal lobes of the brain. And as those lobes are developing in the first 3 years of life, children don't have much self-control, and that's why we need to teach them.
Right, okay.
Watch what happens here. You see the leg, and Ross is just standing there. Matthew kicks him and then lies there. He then jumps on. They then start fighting. He then bites.
All right.
They then stop.
Do it again, Ross.
What did you do again, Ross?
Show me.
All right. Does that upset you?
I'm not upset. I just feel terrible about it because I've seen Ross as the troublemaker.
Matthew knows, because of the way you respond, he knows that the best way to get you to himself is to set his brother up, to get his brother into trouble, because Matthew will end up in your arms with you kind of rocking him and doing this. But the thing is, you really, really, really need to toughen up with your boys.
Oh, I'm so ready.
Good.
It just...
Because they need it, because they're not. I don't think you're doing them any favours.
To learn how to cope with the boys' tantrums, Tanya equips Michelle with an earpiece through which she can instruct her in a 3-step exercise of praising good behaviour, ignoring bad behaviour, and the last resort of time out. First up for Michelle is to learn how to praise.
In through the hole, and you wind the bottom bit round.
That's lovely play. And remember to say to Ross, I like playing with you like this. You're a very good boy.
You're such a good boy, Ross. I love playing with you when you're so good. It's
Good,
lovely.
good message for him. Give him a kiss. Less words and big kiss.
Big gorgeous kiss. Come here. I love you. Milk. I'll go and get you milk, darling. You thirsty?
Oh yeah, let's leave them and see if anything kicks off. So you go into the kitchen, get the milk, and we'll see if anything kicks off between the two of them, okay?
And I'll be back in a wee minute.
Ross has just hit him with the hammer.
Right, they're going to start.
Okay.
Right, boys.
Right, you go out, separate them. Take one and put him on the sofa and tell him to... Right, take Matthew off him. Sit Matthew on the sofa.
Right, Matthew, that's it.
You don't hit your brother. And just sit him on the sofa and you say, you sit there until I tell you. So you don't hit your brother, you stay there.
Don't hit your brother. Now you sit here until I tell you not to.
What's that?
Right, now you take Ross and you put him on the other sofa. No, Matthew's got off.
What's that?
Put Matthew back down and said, I said sit there.
Matthew. No, I said sit there.
Shut up.
Back up in that sofa, Ross.
OK, take Matthew. I think, shall we time him out for a bit? Pick him up and say, right, you go to your room. If you don't listen to Mummy, you go to your room.
Listen, we go to your room if you do not listen to me.
Right, say nothing more to him and just take him down there. Take him down to your room. Don't talk to him. Don't look at him now. Take him down to the room and say you are going to your room because you do not listen to Mummy.
You are going to your room right now because you do not listen to Mummy.
Don't talk to him anymore. Don't look at him. Just put him in the room and say, you can come out when I decide, but you stay in your room. So put him in and shut the door and just leave him there. And say, when you listen to me, you can come out.
When you listen to me, the next time you can come back out.
OK, Ross is OK. I can see that he's fine. And this is a lesson for him as well, because he's suddenly being punished. Yeah, this is good. Hold the door. Because he knows now that, you know, this isn't going his way, and he's very cheeky to you. And Ross is fine. He's just outside your bedroom door. So he's also, in effect, being timed out because you've taken yourself away from him. So both of them are getting a consequence for their behaviour. So you ignore the kicking because the message is, Mummy doesn't respond to kicking. Leave Matthew where he is. Ross is fine where he is.
Mommy, what's that noise?
OK, you open the door and you say to him, I put you in here because you were fighting with your brother. If you do it again, you will go to your room again. And leave the room, Michelle, and then say the same thing to Ross, and then take both their hands, bring them down here, and let's see if they can play a bit better. OK? Good. OK, go for it, girl.
Listen, I put you in here because you were fighting with Ross. If you fight with Ross
Don't
again, you come back along here. You do not fight with your brother.
Excellent. Right, stand up, say nothing more, take him by the hand. Just ignore Matthew and go and say the same with Ross.
Ross, come here.
Very good. Very, very good. Get down on his level and tell him.
I left you outside the room because you were fighting with Matthew. You do not fight. If you fight again, you will go in your room. Let's go.
Very good. That's an assertive mother.
Yeah.
After Mum Michelle's hard work with the two boys, I asked Tanya if she thinks she's making good progress.
She's brilliant. She's so tired and she is grabbing every opportunity in this house.
What tips then, if somebody does have a little monster at home, what's the answer?
The answer is, A, don't cast them in the role of the monster because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think a child will behave in a certain way, you will behave towards them in such a way to set up that behaviour. And secondly, do not be afraid to set clear boundaries around their behaviour. And if you then set a boundary but you don't follow through with a consequence, if that boundary is then overstepped, how will they ever learn?
How do you decide your boundaries?
If you don't want your child to bite and scratch and kick people, then there's a boundary. When my child is aggressive, I will put them in their room, or if it's older, I will take away something that they value. It's about teaching lessons that they can learn from, and so shaping their behaviour.
Flushed with the success of Isaac's breakfast breakthrough, Tanya calls the Murphys into the consultation room.
Going on, and I spun round, and there he was, and he just his face was lit up with confidence and look at me. He wanted everyone to look at him, and he just wouldn't stop.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. It's great because things are happening, you know, when I'm not here, so it's kind of moving on.
In an emotional consultation earlier this week, Paula revealed to Tanya that she suffered from postnatal depression after Isaac was born, which led to her being separated from the family for 9 months.
I just had so much frustration and anger, and it was frightening, so I went into went into hospital for a little bit.
For me, this is very linked to the feeding problem.
Tanya wants the family to work through this issue in the hope that it will help them to move on. So she's asked Steve and Paula to record video messages to each other.
Let's hear it then.
I just want to say I'm sorry for putting you through it, all of you through it. And I didn't think that you hurt still as much as you did. I didn't even realise you hurt. But I do feel closer to you more now than I've ever done, ever. And all I want to say is let's put things right, especially putting Eggert right, and let's move on.
I love you too. No, I do. Yeah, let's move on. I think this is a total new start, a really good foundation to start building up on now and moving on.
I want you to understand, Paula, that you could not help having this condition. You had an illness, you were unwell, and there's nothing you could have done to stop it. You just caught a really bum deal after you had your boys, particularly the second one. But the residue for you, you're not depressed anymore, clinically depressed anymore, but you're living with this real sense of guilt, because I was struck by the number of times you kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. You couldn't have stopped it. It's like standing in front of a speeding train. You just can't stop it. If it's going to hit you, it's going to hit you.
Yeah, no, you can't stop it.
And it hit you. And you did the right thing, but it was so painful because you didn't see your baby. But when we talk about it, you tear up and then you pull back, and I think you're frightened to kind of go there. And I do want to go there with you a little bit, but maybe you and me on our own one day. Right, let's see what you had to say, shall we? Shall we? Here we go.
I know we got ourselves in a real mess, a terrible mess, and it's not a very nice feeling to keep going back there, because I know neither of us want, well, I certainly don't want to go back to that. I really love you, I always have done, and I always will. And I really want to make this in the way we want it to be, and have some really good times to look back on.
Today I'm going to send you out, really because I want the boys to know that I think they've just been brilliant in this house. I mean, they're great kids, both of your boys. You should be really proud of them.
Oh, definitely.
So it's a reward for everybody. So we're sending you to this kind of kids' play centre, but it's brilliant. It's got trampolines, it's got everything, so the kids can just have a brilliant, brilliant time with you. The aim is really, I want Isaac to be bouncing and jumping and leaping and running so that he's well hungry when it comes to lunch, because then you're going to go to a restaurant.
Right.
Now this is your challenge really, exactly, because this is now away from the comfort zone of the food that we know. Now my feeling is he might not eat anything, but I want to see how you deal with that. My aim is to see his parents deal with the fact that he might not eat, you know, but you can deal with that. And
so you don't take any cones for him or
nothing. So I can see you're looking quite anxious.
Well, my fear is he needs blended food.
Your fear is
he can't eat lumps. You know, that's all that's in my head.
Just remember the main principles. Don't panic. This keep telling yourself, Paula, Tanya has sent me. What you're doing is you are taking him into a situation which he's never been to before, and you are showing him that you are calm. And that's exactly how you got him eating here and got him out of that high chair.
What about the seating arrangements?
I think take his booster seat if you want.
Yeah.
Not to get a high chair. No.
It's up to you. What do you want to do?
No. I say no. Bring the booster seat.
That's a positive association. You look really frightened. You look frightened.
I am, because I know what he's like, yeah.
I mean, do you want me to pull this outing? Do you want to not go on it?
No,
I
we've got to do it.
No, I want to go.
Good. All right, then.
No.
Her away from her children.
Following Tanya's chat with Paula Murphy earlier, I'm keen to explore the issue of postnatal depression further.
But she couldn't help her postnatal depression. It happened to her. She was ill. It's a biochemical response to pregnancy and birth, and some women do become very depressed. And there are all sorts of symptoms, such as being very tired but not being able to sleep, waking up early in the morning, a loss of appetite, a loss of sex drive, a loss of arousal. Some women become very anxious and paranoid about their baby, check them a lot, can't be away from them. Feelings of hopelessness and helplessness and despair. So here you are at the most amazing time in your life and you're surrounded by baby magazines with pictures of happy babies and happy mummies and you're feeling like hell. And that's what she experienced.
Do you think lots of people have postnatal depression and don't realise it until afterwards and the cloud has lifted?
A lot of women have postnatal depression, feel ashamed, feel there's something wrong with them, that they're being a bad mother, and then get diagnosed much later when it's much worse. It's a very diagnosable and treatable condition, and women should feel encouraged to be open and honest about it and get support and understanding and not feel guilty because it is an illness.
It's the 4th day in the House of Tiny Tearaways, and time is running out for Dr Tanya to help this week's 3 families. Night times are exhausting for single mum Michelle Wright, whose sons, 3.5-year-old Matthew and 2-year-old Ross, never sleep through till morning. During the day, Michelle is challenged even further by her boys' uncontrollable tantrums. Tanya has shown Michelle how to be more assertive, but while she understands the theory, she's finding putting it into practice much harder.
I feel terrible. Oh, sweet. Let me see. So sorry.
The Hadley home is a self-confessed war zone. 3.5-year-old daughter Lucie's frequent tantrums have stretched Mum Alison and Dad Richard's relationship to the limits. They're trying to reconcile Mum's softer approach and Dad's firmer stance on parenting, and they seem to be making some progress. But Tanya's going to have to use radical solutions to turn the problem around in the time remaining.
You're not going in? Mummy's doing something.
Agate, turn round.
The eating habits of 2.5-year-old Isaac and 5-year-old brother Jacob have caused enormous stress in the Murphy home. Isaac will eat crisps and ice cream cones, but flatly rejects proper food unless it's pureed and then spoon-fed to him. Jacob also refused to eat unless he was fed, but Tanya has managed to get him to copy the other children in the house and start eating on his own.
4 more, mate. Do you want a bit more?
This morning also saw Isaac make huge progress when he fed himself breakfast for the very first time.
Excellent.
The Murphys have left for their day out. They're going to an activity centre and then on to lunch.
It is a test for us, more than Isaac. He might not touch anything, he might not do what we want him to do, but we've got to really relax and take it easy and just think, right, you know, what he does is what he does.
You do feel that people are watching you and giving you sort of funny looks when he's screaming. It's as if they're thinking you can't control your own child and you haven't taught him any manners and all that sort of stuff.
Because of the stress and embarrassment of eating away from home, the Murphys haven't had a whole family day out for over a year.
Wow. We going in?
Jacob is having a great time, but Isaac is finding some of the activities too difficult.
He's got himself all worked up.
This isn't going to work for dinner.
It's going to make it really hard to maintain what we're trying to do at dinner now because of the frenzy that he's got himself into. He's going to get into that mindset of stubbornness and determination of what he wants to do rather than what we're trying to get him to do.
And with the challenge of getting the boys to eat in a restaurant still to come, it's just what Paula and Steve didn't want. On the way to lunch, Isaac finally calms down, but now Mum Paula is getting nervous.
I'm just worried that he's not going to nibble on anything at all. I think our stress levels will go right up there.
And with Isaac looking sleepy, there's another problem to overcome.
Shall we go? He's a good
If
boy.
he goes to sleep, he'll stay asleep for at least 3 hours, if not more.
He's on now.
Yeah, he'll be sleeping all the way through our dinner. We won't be able to carry out the exercise at all.
He's going. He's really closing his eyes.
For her behaviour.
Back at the house, Tanya has suggested using a sticker chart to help curb Lucie Hadley's tantrums.
basically, the way it works is you split the day into 4 sections, and she will know that if she doesn't have a tantrum, if she behaves well, for the whole of one of the sections, she gets a sticker in her box.
Yeah.
So let's say from 7 till 10, and she's well on the way, she's been great, tantrum free.
Yeah.
You take her to the sticker chart with a huge amount of fuss and attention, and she puts one of these on the box, and you're very happy, and we're all very happy, and well done. And she knows exactly why she's achieved that, because you have not had a tantrum, you've been a really good girl, etc. Now, if she starts to behave badly, you draw, and she watches you do this. You draw a sad face in the box, and she'll be, and I've known kids like her, and it's very interesting. Going, no, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. I mean, all it is a bit of paper and a pen, but it's very symbolic. Now, if at the end of that slot she's only got a sad face, because children are allowed to be naughty sometimes, we say, actually, you only did it once. You're a normal kid. You're doing very well. And we cover it over, so she's still got her sticker, but we can see it.
Yeah.
If she gets 2 sad faces or more, she has to watch you, and she has to watch this. You put a big black cross through, and it's like, you've lost your sticker because you behave like that, and then you walk away. That is when she will learn. So as much as it's going to break your heart, we need some of these over the next couple of days. It's about increasing self-awareness, and she's definitely bright enough and savvy enough to know. Are you happy to try this with me today?
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
shall we draw? We'll use a red.
Right, now,
Be careful.
What doesn't Lucy do to get a yellow sticker?
Because I've been a good girl.
Yes, and
And
what?
then I can play myself.
Listen, and what happens when Lucy gets one of these? How has Lucy behaved if she gets one of these faces?
Throw myself around.
Oh, what, darling?
Throw myself around.
Throw yourself around. You know, don't you, you clever girl?
The Murphy's day out has not gone according to plan. Steve and Paula were hoping that some high-energy activities would give Jacob and Isaac good appetites before lunch, but it's all ended in tears for Isaac.
Come on, tired boy.
The Murphys never normally go out to restaurants, as the boys won't sit still and refuse to eat anything. A smart restaurant is Mum Paula's worst nightmare, and before they've even ordered, she's looking for a way out.
not happy at all.
You're not happy?
No.
This is the idea of trying new things, isn't it? Getting into
But this isn't where we take him. I'm sorry, but this isn't where you take kids.
No, but you need to start working, getting your stress levels down.
Well, they're not. They're going higher and higher. Because this isn't normal.
No,
It's not normal.
Listen, we're going out and we're having dinner, aren't we? Lots and lots of families would sit down and do that. Okay? So why can't we?
Okay.
All right?
Go on then.
Right, now choose something that you want to eat. Calm down, don't get him all hepped up, because you're right opposite him. Well, no, it's not a children's place, but this is where they learn to sit like us and start eating, don't they?
Thank you.
Good boy, and look at him, he's being brilliant. He's in his chair, he hasn't got down. You're a really good boy, you are.
The Murphys ordered garlic bread. Following Tanya's advice, they're hoping that they might at least get Isaac to touch new foods.
Yeah.
Just wait a little bit.
Well done.
Good boy.
Look, there's Mummy's. Ah.
Amazing. Wow. Good boy, you're going to be the winner?
Yeah.
There goes the winner.
He's going to beat us. Never seen that before in my life. And I don't want to make such a big thing out of it to put him off. So we're going to keep it on this level and just let him crack on. He's going for it. Do you want some little bits? Whoa, big bit. Excellent. Look at that.
It's the first time he's ever touched a piece of bread. It never, ever. It just wouldn't attempt it. It'd scream at a piece of bread. So to actually sit there and bite it and chew it, it's... I can't believe it. I really cannot believe it.
Excellent.
In a tunnel.
Oh, oh. You're very good boys, both of you.
Winner! Not
Makes,
on the wall.
he just wants to make us look like liars.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a conspiracy between him and Jacob. Has been for years.
Vociferously.
Alison and Richard Hadley's very different approaches towards their parenting of 3.5-year-old daughter Lucie has caused huge conflict between the couple.
Because everything I suggest for Lucie, you don't support me at all.
Right, OK.
And that's what that's what I feel, there's no support.
OK, right, OK.
Tanya has a plan to help them air these differences and come up with solutions.
Because what I would like to do with the two of you actually today is write your parent contract with you. I think when you leave this house, I think you need to leave with a very clear contract between the two of you of what you want from your daughter and how you want it achieved and what you're going to do if she doesn't achieve it, so that we don't get this, what sometimes does happen with you is you're thinking that Richard's doing something which actually he isn't, and then you're thinking Alison's thinking something that she isn't, and then you... Because that is where take you out of this lovely fluffy environment that we're in, and you go back home and it's the real world and it's the stresses and the pressures. That's where you'll just both fall apart again.
I'm just trying to think what we're going to actually put now.
Well, okay,
it's really hard to try and...
Well, this is it, you see. I think it's interesting when you work, when I work with couples who do have such kind of problems in finding parity in their parenting, they start to think, oh, blimey, what would we write down and how could we do this? So we're just going to start from the beginning. It's very simple. I'm going to ask you to go in there one at a time. You'll go in first, Alison, and then we'll just chat while Alison's doing it. And when you finish, I'll show you, we'll cover it up so that you actually won't know what the other one has written.
Yeah.
All I want you to do, as briefly as you can, so very, very kind of few words, I want you to write down the top 5 rules for you as a parent. Okay, the top 5 things that you think are really important as a parent for you to get done with your child.
After they've each written what they would like in the contract, Tanya rejoins them to talk through what they've written and see if they can agree on anything at all.
Right, you show me where the overlap is.
Support.
So this is number. So your number 1 rule was exactly the same, wasn't it? By support, do you mean working together, supporting each other?
Supporting each other.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So that's the same one. Cool.
Those two are the same.
Well, the talking is,
But mummy and daddy happy together and talking to each other. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, talking, everybody talking.
Okay. So there's that one. Okay. Does that kind of link into that one as well? Do those two kind of equal that one? Something about your relationship.
Talking's like communication. We need to communicate more.
Okay.
I couldn't remember if there was 1 M or 2 M's.
Lone parent Michelle Wright is looking after Lucie Hadley and her youngest son Ross. Earlier today, Tanya told her she needed to get tough with her children to control their tantrums.
Hi, kiddo. First, you want to sit down beside? Yeah, there's your seat. Oh, you go then. No, darling, Mummy's going to have a wee seat here. On you go play, I'll watch you, but Mummy's sitting here.
I got a pink watch and brought me a weight, so...
Can you tell the time?
Yeah.
Ross, look at Mum. Mummy's sitting here. I'm not going over there. If you want to go and play, go and play.
No.
Mummy's sitting down. I'm speaking to Lucie. She's been a good girl.
What's this?
Can you climb up that on your hands and knees? Good girl. Let me see your nail polish. Is it still on? Oh. All right, Ross. Well done. Decided to join us? Good boy.
The Hadleys have each been asked to write down what they consider to be the 5 crucial things they need to agree on for parenting Lucie. They've gone out to the gazebo to attempt to draw up a parenting contract, setting out these agreed rules.
First thing is there no arguing in front of Lucie.
No, okay.
Yeah?
We've got to find out what issues that we want, because there's certain things that you don't agree with, and that I feel is important to me. Classic example, it's like the cupboard. I arrange the cupboard on the tins, so I know when I look, if I want a tin of beans, I know where it is, because I know if I can't find a tin of beans and I want one, I start to get angry. Don't I?
like you.
I get angry when I can't find something, so I like to know where everything...
That's important to you.
So I wear my keys, I put my keys in the same place all the time, so when you move my keys without telling me, and I can't find them, I start to get angry, because I can't find them.
So then really you need to go to anger management.
No, what you need to do is respect that for me and leave them. Let the situation come to an end before questioning.
That's no arguing in front of Lucie.
No, it's not. Arguing is arguing. Just put, wait till situation ends. Just do that.
Well, if there's a situation going on...
Wait till it ends. You don't need to waffle. You know what it is. That's what bullet points is.
For Richard to use emotions...
Daddy, that's big what with...
Well, that's not working together and supporting each other, is it?
Because that's supporting me emotionally.
No, you can't use emotions.
Hold on. And to be loving in front of Lucie.
Well, no, don't just say Richard. That's for us. And that goes at the bottom, Richard and Alison.
Well, I'll put it here because I've started it.
No, we'll cross it out. It's there. This is about working together with Lucie and supporting each other. We set up what's important to each of us that we want Lucie to do. It's always been important that I want Lucie in a daily routine, that we have dinner at a certain time, we go to bed at a certain time, and we have a bath at a certain time.
Okay, so to establish routine during the day, yeah?
You want it? Which one? This one or this one? This
routine
one? That one?
During the day.
Woo! Way!
So is there anything else that needs to go to the contract for work together and support each other?
No. Because most of the time the arguing happens when one person wants one thing and the other one doesn't, or just comes in and says, when I'm telling Lucie to do something, you say, well, it doesn't matter.
I know, not to undermine each other.
Yeah, well, that's the wait till the situation comes through, isn't it? That's what undermining is. When I say, put your shoes on, and you come in and say, oh, it doesn't matter, out you go, that's undermining. Ross! 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 Ross!
It's the 4th day in the House of Tiny Tearaways, and this week's families are presenting Tanya with a huge range of problems. The Murphys from East Sussex are desperate to solve the eating problems of 2.5-year-old Isaac and his 5-year-old brother, Jacob. Both boys have already made great progress towards independent eating.
Wow!
But Tanya now has to make sure that this isn't a one-off, but a sustainable solution. In the Glasgow household of Michelle Wright, nights are anything but peaceful, as 3.5-year-old Matthew and 2-year-old Ross wake constantly. Since coming to the house, they're sleeping for longer periods, but the effort required has left Michelle under enormous strain. Now Tanya wants to see Michelle toughen up her attitude.
You're a bad boy! Go over there!
And they've got a lot of work still to do. The Hadleys from Leicester are trying to cope with their 3.5-year-old daughter Lucie's attention-seeking and tantrums.
Come on, then.
However, Mum Alison and Dad Richard's relationship issues have proved a huge obstacle for Tanya, and she wants them to come to an agreement on how to bring up Lucie in the future. With just 2 days left, there's a lot to be pleased with, but a great deal of work that still remains.
bedroom time, I feel so much more confident that I can do that now.
Because you can. Because you're the girl. Because you're going to be writing the book for me.
Yes.
How to get your kids to sleep.
Yeah.
Tanya is waiting for the Murphy family as they return from a day trip to a play centre and a local restaurant.
Hello. Come and sit down. I don't know what's happened and I want to know. Sit down. Come
we drink push can.
How are you?
We haven't seen anything, have we?
Not seen anything. Do sit down. My heart is blue. Okay. So the psychologist is just composing herself. This is. Go on then. What happened?
He ate loads of garlic bread.
A whole plate.
I can't believe
With
it.
a fork.
He's ripping it.
Oh man.
Thank you.
Must not cry. This is my job. This is my job.
If he hadn't have ate so much of the garlic bread, I got carried away just watching the movie.
Yeah.
He ate loads, actually. He ate more or less the same amount as him, was garlic bread.
I just went, I just feel everything stop inside me, and you're thinking, oh, it's going to his mouth, it's going to his mouth, and you just, that's just going, you know, you're just saying it over and over again, and then it's like...
Then he'd pick it up, he was ripping
and when he
bits
ate
off,
it, you just wanted to jump up and down and go, he's eaten it! But you couldn't,
he was
like,
giving me
well
some,
done.
Jacob some.
I don't know what to say. I'm so...
I know.
It's made my day. I mean, it's just incredible. I'm so happy.
Everything in one.
In the scale of all your achievements in your life, where do you rank this?
Top of it,
Done.
definitely.
Thank you.
Well, you know, thank you for making me look so bloody good. Thank you for making me look so good at my job. I want more families like you, please. Excellent. Well done, little man. He is seriously in a post-carb coma.
Yeah.
Have a seat. Are you in shock? You seemed in shock.
Yeah, I am in shock, I tell you.
Did you think that was going to happen?
No, never. I really didn't think that would happen at all.
How do you feel? You're going to cry?
No, of course I don't do that. I'm at work. I feel like crying, actually.
Do you?
I really feel like crying. Because for them, actually, that's why I like my job, actually. I mean, I am absolutely shocked.
Are you?
No, seriously, I'm shocked. And anybody who does my job, who watches the progress of Isaac, will be shocked. It just doesn't happen that fast. It just does not happen that fast. The thing I always worried about with this project is that you can't make change happen any faster than change happens. And in my head, theoretically, I know how fast feeding problems change. What is so great about this is I'm looking at it, I'm here, I'm living it with them, I'm then out there, I can do it with them. This is the best way I've ever done my job.
Earlier today, Tanya encouraged the Hadleys to use a sticker chart to improve Lucie's behaviour.
Look, you've been such a good girl today. You deserve another smiley face. And I think you've been extra special.
Jenny, put it up. You put it up. Put it there.
And I think...
No, there you go.
I think you deserve 2 stickers because you have been such a good girl and not had any tantrums.
That's it, no more.
3? You can have another one. Put another one up.
I say no more and you say put another one
Oh,
up.
sorry. There we go.
To build on today's progress, Tanya has arranged for all the children to eat together.
Yeah, we watched that the other night.
Yes, because you're eating your pizza, clever boy.
So, Tanya, why did you decide to have this big old tea time thing?
It's all about learning. It's about putting the children together
Cheesy biscuits.
so that the not so good eaters can learn from the good eaters. You know, children learn a lot from each other. They're always watching each other. It's also to celebrate, I think, a good day for the boys, the 2 Murphy boys, who are doing so well with their eating. I mean, Jacob doesn't have an eating problem anymore, and Isaac today had such an amazing day. It's a celebration of that, The parents are sitting nicely well back. They're not doing a kind of full-on major well done or are you going to eat? They're just, you know, they're just nicely sitting well back and letting the good times roll, as they say.
You want some pizza?
No, he's got yogurt.
Wow.
Good boy.
Yay.
That is delicious, that yogurt is. I can't resist. I'm keep going.
Good boy. Oh, God. Go on. Go on, Isaac. Let's do cracker and yogurt.
Yes. It's a good mix.
This is excellent. This is, do you know what? It's really fun eating, and it's really fun eating with other kids, and it's really fun eating in my booster seat, and it's really fun eating with my mum and dad. And food is fun, and it tastes nice too.
You've come so far. What's left to do?
Oh, there's always lots to do. The bottle, I think, should go. And I think also I need to help them get real about what it's going to be when they leave this house, because they are on holiday here. And when they go back home and back to the room where he's fed, back to the television that's always on, because I don't have television here, so he's fine with that. How are they going to deal with that? Because once they get back, he could then go back to his old ways. So this is now where we have to get some hardcore, real, frightening facts in, which is, hey, this is great, but it could all change, so then what are we going to do?
How hard has Michelle worked?
She's worked really, really hard, really hard. The community's really supported her, but, you know, at night, there's no one sitting in the bedroom with her and holding her hand or saying, don't worry, babe, you know, I'll go in now and you sleep this one through. You know, she's on her own and she's done incredibly. Tomorrow I'm sending her out with the boys, but in the morning I'm going to do a little bit of training with her just to help her think of ways that she can manage them, because in public it's a nightmare for her. But I've got a big surprise for her tomorrow night.
You've got 2 days left with the Hadleys. Are they making enough progress?
I'm not quite sure what's going on with the Hadleys, because I asked them to do the parent contract earlier on, and I kind of took away Richard's defences, so he's not in charge, he's not being Mr. Logical, he's not doing all the writing and the organising. That was Alison's job. And I'm not quite sure where it's at. I need to catch up with him before I go tonight, because as far as I can tell, it hasn't been finished. He did sort of get up and leave halfway through. I am concerned that maybe this parent contract, which is supposed to be uniting them, might actually be, you know, not working. So if that's the case, then there's a lot more work to be done. So I am concerned, and that's why I think I need to follow this one up quite quickly and do a lot more work with them tomorrow on it.
Matthew and younger brother Ross Wright are playing in the garden, giving Tanya the chance to give mum Michelle a progress report on the boys' sleep patterns.
Right, how did you think it went last night compared to the other 2 nights?
Very good. Matthew was excellent. The fact they went in together was just... felt amazing. Bed. In. Go to sleep.
Well, last night was, I think, your breakthrough night, actually. So I'm going to show you your graphs very quickly. Here we go with Matthew. These are the blocks of sleep in green. These are the waking up blocks. So he was only awake in the night for 10, 20, for half an hour in these blocks. The M is when you were settling him, the boys, and then it took you 5 minutes, and you were really good. I've seen you were doing a lot of the less touching, so you are beginning to withdraw your presence now. He got up a couple of times when you were asleep,
That's
actually.
what I was going to say, because I didn't think all those times. I only felt it once.
No, he got up a couple of times. He woke up once and just lay down and went back to sleep, but a couple of times he walked into the bedroom when you were asleep. I think all he needed to do is to reassure himself that you were there. He saw you in the bed and he just turned around and went back to bed.
Oh my God, that is just amazing, actually.
Isn't that brilliant?
God.
Isn't that brilliant? So let's have a look at Ross. Huge blocks of sleep. You settled him 6 times.
That's amazing.
And the longest it took you to settle him was these 10-minute blocks here.
It felt longer. I felt as if I was up for like half an hour or even longer. But
it's probably because these were all in quick succession, so in total it probably felt like it was over. You were probably quite right over the period of time, because he only like 25 minutes there and a few minutes there and a few minutes there.
Yeah.
But he did go back to sleep, and then he'd wake and go back to sleep and wake.
I actually feel a wee bit guilty of last night, because I lay in bed when I heard him crying, and I left him for a wee bit, and I didn't know if I was going to get into trouble for doing that today or not.
Leave them.
But,
because sometimes they cry and then they go back to sleep.
Yeah.
The more you can have the courage to withdraw yourself, you will see that. Don't feel guilty. Okay, so here's Matthew. This is his sleep graph over the 3 nights. He's consistently having a nice big block of sleep around 10 and a half hours, which is very good for his age. That's what we want. But what's really nice is that it's almost no effort to settle him. So, you know, that is such a great ratio. He's well on the way to having just a nice big blue block and no red. Do you like these graphs?
I think these are fantastic.
They're great, aren't they? Because this is, you would have given up by now because you would not have recognised how well you've done because you'd be so tired.
It feels so different, what you do at night time and what you think you did at night time.
Absolutely, because you can't. Remember, I told you sleep deprivation is like drinking alcohol. It has the same effect on the brain. And that's why parents give up on a sleep programme, because they're so tired they can't actually process what they've achieved. So tonight, really withdraw. Because if you go in, you're more likely to make a problem than by not going in.
Yeah.
So just see. And okay, so he cries for 5 minutes. He cries for 5 minutes. But if he, I mean, obviously, if you can hear the cry and you're thinking, oh, then go in, shh, shh, shh. And as soon as you can, walk out. But walk out before he's asleep. We really want them to settle themselves back in the way that they're starting to learn. Okay. You've got 2 more nights in the house.
Yeah.
We need lots more learning to happen. I think really, you know, maximise the opportunity for learning in these next 2 nights.
After an extraordinary day with 2.5-year-old son Isaac, Mum Paula Murphy records her thoughts in a video diary.
Right, well, today we had a massive breakthrough. Absolutely unbelievable. Isaac ate a load of garlic bread when we went to the restaurant today. And I just wanted to scream and shout, but I couldn't. I just had to keep it all calm and held in, and it was absolutely brilliant. It was like watching your child take his first steps. It was absolutely amazing. And he ate so much. It was absolutely brilliant. To think that 3 days ago he was screaming. He wouldn't even touch it. And 3 days later he's sitting there breaking up garlic bread and sticking a fork into it and, you know, putting it in his mouth and chomping away. It was amazing.
With just 2 nights to go, Mum Michelle is trying to settle her boys down to sleep.
Right, it's bedtime. Night, night. I love you. Jump in. Good night.
And whilst one sleeping problem is improving, for the Hadleys, it seems to be getting worse.
I'm just going to be in the other room.
It's a room.
In there, and I'm going out now. And you've got to remember that the fairy's coming. She's watching you. Night-night, Lucie. Mummy's only going in the other room now. Go to sleep. Stop messing about, because I'm not listening.
So you got my hair bobbing in. Have you got to take my hair bubble out?
No.
I'll give you a kiss and that's it.
After an hour of bargaining, Lucie is finally asleep. It's a backward step for the Hadley family, and there's only one more bedtime in the house to get it right. With both sons asleep, Mum Michelle Wright records a video diary.
Keep it short tonight. Today has been a really good day. I'm feeling so much better today. This is the best day I've felt good since arriving at the house. I feel so much more confident about sleeping. The boys were amazing tonight, just went to bed no problem. I don't think my problem really is getting them down now, settling them. It's just throughout the night, and tonight my aim is to try and not get out of bed any more than twice. See how we got on. I am dreading absolutely dreading tomorrow. My worry is, and what I predict is, I'm going to get too stressed, too tired, and I'm not going to be able to be strong enough to keep enforcing what I can do in the house. So although I'm dreading it, I'm really looking forward to trying finding a way of doing it. I don't know how it's going to be.